Hello, my name is Avery Goodman with the Samuel Proctor Oral History Program. Today is July 11th, 2023. I'm interviewing at the Pensacola Public Library in Pensacola, Florida, and I'm here with
Vanessa Obando.
And I am currently conducting this interview. Would you mind introducing yourself with your full name, and could you please spell it for us?
My name is May Haymon. My first name is M-A-Y, initial C. Haymon, Haymon, Haymon.
And then why don't we just start with maybe when and where you were born?
I was born in McKenzie, Alabama. And I came here when I was 4 years old.
And have you been in Pensacola ever since?
I've been in Pensacola ever since.
Would you mind telling us about maybe your mother and your father, what their names were?
My mother's name is Bertha May, M-A-E, Knight. And my father's name is Buster Hayes, mom and my dad.
And did you grow up with any siblings?
And where?
With any siblings?
Oh, yes, it was 10 of us in all. 5 girls and 5 boys.
Would you mind telling us their names?
Okay. David and, do I have to say it?
You can just do their first name if that works.
Yeah. David, Anna Ruth, Richard, Truzel, May Carolyn, Dorothy, Lula, Eddie, and Carlton, and Josephine.
And where do you stand in age? Are you the youngest, oldest, kind of middle? Third?
Third,
Okay. And what was it like growing up with 10 siblings?
It was good because we had each other, I have to say back then, you didn't have a lot of neighborhood children. So we had each other with so many of us. So yeah, we had each other.
Do you have any early memories of living in McKenzie, Alabama? Any that
I have memories of McKenzie, and I'm making a document of that, and I don't think I wanted to say that now, but we did go, as we got older, we went back to McKenzie where my grandfather and grandmother lived, and we stayed there when school was out the whole time.
And is this your grandfather and grandmother and your mother's or your father's side?
My mother's side.
Your mother's side?
Her name was Early, and his name was Dave.
And what did you do during those summers?
During the time we was up there, my grandfather was like an overseer of farms. So he would get people to work on these different farms, tobacco, cotton, or wherever he had it to go. And I didn't like that too well, but I had to go anyway, so.
And you said that was when you got off of school, so maybe what's your earliest memory of education?
My education?
Yeah, your earliest memory.
I don't understand what you're saying as far as.
So where'd you go to elementary school? How old was
the schools where I went to, L.A. Kersey, John A. Gibson, Washington High, and then Washington Senior High on the other side of town.
Let's see. And yeah.
When you would visit your grandparents, would it be all of your siblings?
Yes. Yes, all of us was go. It's amazing how they did that, but we were all there. But I think my grandfather had a plan because we was the oldest of the grandchildren, and he wanted to use us for
For the work.
For the work. But anyway, that's what we did. I didn't have to do it, but my sisters that was older than me, they did that on that.
And were your grandparents born and raised in McKenzie, Alabama as well?
I don't think so. I mean, they could have been in the surrounding area, but I don't think they was raised in McKenzie. They could have come out of New Orleans. I really don't know actually where they were born.
And when you graduated, is it the Booker T. Washington School here in Pensacola that you went to high school?
High school,
Okay. After high school, did you end up going to college? What did you do after high school?
I went to work, and then I started having children. So I said, it's something that I want to do before my children get up and out of school. So I said, I'm going to college. So I went back to nursing school, and I had to do that for me. But my children was like, no, mama gonna be something, not just, So I went back to school at PJC.
And what year was that?
Huh?
The year? Do you remember the year?
Ooh, about 71, 72, something like that.
And how old were you when you went back?
Ooh, an old lady. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
I don't know, because I had 7 children. I had all 7 of my children at that time. So I went back then, so.
Could you tell us the names of your children and how many boys, how many girls?
I have 4 girls and 3 boys. Bertha, Joseph, Edwina, Sophia, Natalie, Samuel, and Dominic.
And did you raise them here in Pensacola as well? And then I think going back, did you spend your entire career as a nurse? Did you spend your entire career as a nurse?
Yes. I mean, before you get stable, which I call my nursing was stable, you did odds and end jobs, restaurants or whatever the situation might be. But basically, my whole career was in nursing.
And did you work in the emergency department?
Yeah.
Could you tell us a little bit about that?
I know, right? I stayed in the ER for about 25 years straight. I loved every minute of it. I did. It's very exciting. I have to be ready for it, but it's very exciting. It's rewarding too, on that.
And so, what was it like having, 7 children and also going to work, being a nurse?
It was a challenge. It was a challenge, and to me, with me being at my younger age then, I could deal with it, because we kind of grew up together, me and the children. They said I should be their sister. I said, I'm your mother. I am not your sister. But we had a good relationship, so it made it easier for me to go, to go to school, and work. So, I worked at a nursing home while I was going to school. That was hard. That was real hard. But anyway, overall, they all turned out pretty good, so it was hard. It wasn't easy.
Are they still living here in Pensacola, or have they just scattered all over?
They're scattered. I have, 2. 2 is here in Pensacola. 1 is in Texas. 1 is in Perdita. 1 is in Daphne. 1 is in West Virginia. They're everywhere. They're all over.
And are you able to, or how often are you able to visit them if they come
now?
to visit you?
Oh, a lot. And I do. I go visit. I don't like to no more because I don't like the airports. They're horrible. But anyway, I do visit.
Do you have any grandchildren?
I have 10 grandchildren, 9 boys and 1 girl. Isn't that something? And 2 great-grand, 1 boy and 1 girl.
Wow.
What would you describe your life here in Pensacola? Because, your children are in different places, and so you've been able to see what different states are like. So what is specific to Pensacola? that you like, or the culture maybe, or the demographics here?
Oh, it's kind of like I came here when I was 4, 'cause it's kind of like it's all I knew until I got grown was Pensacola. So I can't say, well, I like another state better than I do Pensacola, because I like Pensacola. I've grown accustomed to Pensacola all these years. It's a lot of years. I know, I'm sorry. I laugh at myself to keep me sane.
Yeah.
But
How have you seen Pensacola grow over the past however many years you've been here?
it has grown a great deal. And man, I would say me, if I don't get out and go right around and see what the city is like, and wait about a year, I haven't been out, something has happened. Something has moved, a new building has gone up, that one's torn down. It's like, okay, am I lost or what? But I know the name of the streets, so that's not gonna get me messed up. Yeah, it has grown a great deal in the last 5 years,
And have you seen the community change at all over those years?
The what?
The community change?
Sad. Some of it have changed, and some of it haven't. Some of it's stuck in a rut, and their whole family come up, just never going away in the same. The children have children, and they stay there, and the children have children, and they stay there. So some do make it out, and some just stay in the same place forever.
Did you teach your children to maybe go out since they're all spread around? You wanted to give them the opportunity?
Yes. My children went places, which I should have been going, but I sent them to Hawaii. I sent them to wherever they wanted to go at that time. We sent them. We sent them there. We told them to venture out and see other places, and they did. So.
Now you're using we. Does that mean that you're married and you have a husband?
He died, yeah.
What was his name?
Henry. He was good. He was a good guy.
How long were you married for?
30 years. 37 years. Yes.
Could you talk about how you and Henry met?
Yeah, well, it is a story. My sister and I, yes, she was driving, I have to say that. We were supposed to go bowling. She said, I want to go to the officers club on the base. I said, no. Let's go bowling. You know how we love bowling. No, I'm driving. It was like, oh, crap. So we went to the officers club, and that's where I met Henry, in the officers club. I didn't want him to be close to me. I couldn't take it. But I said hello, he said hello, I said hello, and we never left each other from that night on. Isn't that amazing?
That's beautiful.
So was he in the military? You said
Yeah,
officers
he
club?
was in the military.
What branch?
He was in 2 branches. He was in the Navy and the Marine.
Wow. And how long was he in the military for?
I'm not sure right off the top of my head on how many years he served in each branch.
Well, let's see.
Well, if he was in the military during the time that you both met, correct?
What now?
He was still in the military when you both met, correct?
Yeah.
So did he move around a lot? Did you guys move around a lot?
He did, when he was in the military, he did move, and when he got out, he went to Egypt. We were going to move to Egypt, but they started a war in Jerusalem, and he came back home, so that trip was over. So yeah, he traveled a lot. And here locally, when take all the children. I have to say that because we had one car, and all of us was in that one car. And we would go to Georgia, Jacksonville. We would spend the night on the bay. We just did stuff, with the children, so.
Could you talk to us maybe about one of your favorite memories with Henry?
Well, you know what? And I hope whoever meets someone, that person care about them. And my family always said that he care about you, because whatever it is, he was going to make sure I was okay. We had a lot of fun together. I can't just pick out one thing that we had, because most of the time when you saw one, you saw the other. If we go to the grocery store, he'd wake me up at 3 a.m. talking about go to, but I'll get up. I would get up. He said, come go to the store with me. I want to go over to Food World. There's no more Food World now, though. I goes, oh, God. Okay. And I'll just get up and, God.
Can I ask what drew you guys to Egypt and why you wanted to move there?
To what now?
Why you wanted to move to Egypt?
Well, it was something that I was thinking about it on the biblical scene, of going there and maybe see a lot of things that I read in the Bible or something like that. But it didn't happen because that war is getting ready. He says, by the time this stamp turned upside down, I'm going to be in the United States. Because things started going wrong, in order for him to get out of Egypt, he had to go to the embassy, because they wasn't going to let him out. He had to go to the embassy to get out of Egypt to come back to the United States. So that was getting pretty rough over there. So I thought it would be a delightful trip for us to spend a couple of years there, but that didn't happen. It wasn't meant to be. So.
You talked about the biblical motivation to move to Egypt. So could you talk to us about your religion, maybe?
Ooh. Well, I go to church. I believe in the Lord Jesus Christ. I don't push my religions on anyone, because if you see me, whatever, today you see me like now, I'll be the same way tomorrow. I always have been like this. I guess, I don't know. So I go to church. I go to my Bible studies. I have one of my daughters that live in West Virginia. We have a Bible study every night together, to keep her abreast, because she's up there by herself. And that's it. I just do that. And I do believe there's a higher being than everybody else in this world. I can tell you one thing that happened to me in a situation that make me really believe in it. I was coming from church one Sunday, and when I turned the corner to come to the house, something told me to park by the mailbox. I usually drive all the way up into the yard, all the way back to the kitchen. And a little voice or something just kept saying, park at the mailbox. I'm saying, park at the mailbox? I got to kick all this stuff back there and all the way back to the back. And that little voice just kept saying, park at the mailbox. So I said, okay, I'll park at the mailbox. I parked at the mailbox, walked with all my junk to get back in the house. And within 30 minutes, my husband came. His brakes failed on his truck, and it would have hit my car and put me into a pine tree in the backyard. But it put my car wasn't there. I was at the mailbox. But if I had a park where I normally park, we wouldn't have had transportation, because his truck hit the pine tree in the backyard. My car would have been between the pine tree and his truck. That little voice just saved us transportation, saved me, because it just kept saying, park at the mailbox. And it was like, I was tired. I didn't want to do it, but I did it. I obeyed. And his truck I don't know if his brakes failed or he sped on the brakes instead on the accelerator. I don't know how it happened, but my car would have been total loss. That's how I know there's a higher being than all of us.
And so did you grow up in the church? Did you grow up in the church?
Oh, Lord, yeah. You had to go to,
Yeah.
you had to go to church. My grandfather was a minister, and we were brought in church. My mom and my dad, I don't know what y'all doing, but when we get ready, y'all better be ready to go to church. You could not stay at home on Sunday. You better hope if you're sick, you better be sick. But you couldn't play sick with my mama. She wouldn't let.
And what church was your grandfather the minister of?
My what?
What church was your grandfather the minister of?
It was in Alabama, and he was the Baptist church, and then there was a Methodist church up the hill. So it was just they usually call it like the First Baptist Church of McKenzie, Alabama, or something like that. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then have you been at the same church in Pensacola since you've been here?
You know, as we were growing up, being young, we went to many churches. If you moved to a house, you went to that church that was close by your house. You know, and then, you know, that's just the way it was. Because back then, basically, you didn't really have amp transportation, you know, all the time. You just didn't have it, you know, so. Yeah, but we went to church every Sunday, all day long. Went to Sunday school, 11 o'clock service, 3 o'clock service, BTU, all day long. It was okay, you know, it was okay. And then my kids, I did them the same way. All right, let's go to church. And they all go to church now. Isn't that good?
That's good.
That is so good. They all go to church now. So.
We're switching gears a little bit, but I want to know, who would you consider the greatest influence in your life?
Ooh. You know what? It's not really terrible to say, but I think my grandfather, my pop, we called him Papa, day and night. My grandfather and my grandmother. Not because my mom and mother and father wasn't in there with us. It's just something, the way they did things that was amazing, you know, how they taught you different things. Like my mother and daddy couldn't teach us about cotton or tobacco or anything like that, or how to make a garden right outside your house, because that wasn't they did. They were workers, you know, Daddy worked at Sun Motor car dealer, I think it was, Motors or something like that. You know, and my mother did housework. No, not all the time. She worked at the theater, Ritz Theater used to be down there on Railroad Street. She worked down there, but they taught us different things, you know. So my grandfather was the one that what he said, you didn't forget, you know. He didn't play.
And what are some of the lessons that you said that you wouldn't forget that he taught you?
My grandfather, now, if he tells you to do something, he'll give you a chance. But when he finds out that you did not do it, now he had a chair that he sat by the fire. It had a little rocking. I would always know that it was a green little rocking chair he sat by his fire. But he would call you, and if you didn't come, he would scuff his feet on the wooden floor, and you would think he was right there. He never moved out his chair. So if you did something, so look, I ain't like trouble. I didn't like whippings. I didn't like nobody to yell at me. So I always tried to do I knew what they wanted to be done, and that's what I tried to do. My sister and my brother, they are, that's their story. But no, I would. So he would always make you remember what you did. Now my grandmother, when we go up there, she was real quiet. You never heard anything from her. She took care of the whole household. And when you would get your little money from your little stuff that my grandfather would give you every week, she'd take her handkerchief and put your little money in that corner, and she would tie it up in this corner. And I don't know how she knew the other. And whoever gave her money, she'd put it in this corner. She'd have 2 or 3 little killies money in her handkerchief that she kept in her pocket until you got ready to go back home to Pensacola. And she knew exactly which corner was what. I don't know how she did that. So, but those are the things you remember from today. Now, my mom and dad, mother and my father, we call my mother, mother, and daddy was dad, and mother was mother. Everybody called my mother, mother. But they did so much for us, it's not just one thing that you could actually do, but one thing mother did every Saturday, she gave us spinach with boiled eggs. I didn't like that. She cooked that spinach and sliced that boiled egg on top of it. I didn't like that. But anyway.
And would you say that because you've taken these lessons from both your grandparents and your mother and things like that, are these the same lessons that you've implemented into your children's lives?
I did. I did, because back then when they said something, you really didn't probably forget that. So when your children's come along, and what I like about my parents, my grandparents, they did a follow-up. So I tried to do that. It didn't work very well, but I still did it. If you told your child to do something, they would follow up on you in no time and say, well, did you do that? But now, and I did the same thing for my children, and now the young people says, did I tell you to do that? I told you to do that. I done told you you can't do that. You have to say, I told you, no, go wash the dishes. You will get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. If you don't, and they have, you didn't wash your dishes, you got up. When I woke up, they're like, the dishes are not washed. You need to get up, go wash the dishes. I played a trick on my mama about the dishes.
Tell us about it. I want to hear about this trick.
It was a trick. It was my time to wash the dishes. And she'll say, May Carolyn, no, you finished with the dishes? No, the water is cold. And she said, okay, a little while, won't you? May Carolyn, you wash the dishes? Oh, the water is too hot. She caught on to that. Oh my God, that's terrible. But I learned that I couldn't keep doing that. My mama wouldn't that. But that was my story. Nope, the water's too cold. Well, have you finished those dishes yet? Oh, it's too hot, And my dad said, I know you done washed those dishes, and that was it. That was it. That was the end of the story, because he didn't take no junk with that.
Earlier you mentioned that your kids sometimes would be like, oh, it's like you're a sister, and you would be like, no, I'm your mother.
I am.
Is it because you were a younger mom?
I was a young mother, and we played a lot together. I mean, if they were outside playing and I didn't have anything to do, I'm going outside and play. When we played ball together, but they played tricks on people. As I got older, I learned that they tell you to climb up the tree, and then they move the stuff so you can't get down. So you stuck in the tree. I'm looking down. If you don't, I wasn't a cusser. I was not a cusser. I am not a cusser. But so we played together a lot. I think that's why they did it, because I was always with them. I had very much to give them, but myself. So we gave them ourselves, stuff like that. Yeah, we played a lot together.
Do you remember any time where maybe one of your kids tried to get out of chores the way you did with your grandmother?
Trying to get out of what?
Trying to get out of chores?
Oh, yeah. But they'll switch it with each other. Now, if one of the boys want to not rake the yard, one of the girls will say, well, I'll rake the yard if you wash the dishes. You know? So they'll do it. And I say, as long as you get it done, it doesn't matter. And amp time. It couldn't wait all day long to wash breakfast dishes or whatever. You know, so they, you know, they separate. I mean, they traded their chores with each other. Some of them, not all of them. But one thing that I did learn from me, it was hard, but it was worthwhile, the whole thing. So when you have children, you talk to children. When you I didn't have a problem, but we always sit at the table on Saturday, and I said, you know, I got a problem. I said, you know, this light bill just don't look like it's right. Y'all need to evaluate this and check it out to see what. So that's giving them an adult responsibility, like, oh God, we need to help Mom see how to get this bill straight, how to get this situation done. And we did that all the time. We did that all, and the more we did it, the better it got for us to, you know, for me to say, I have a problem. I need y'all to help me solve it. If y'all find out the answer, let me know first. If when I find it out, I'll let you all know. And we kept that going, and now they'll call, Mama, I got a problem. I go, oh Lord. And then, but we got along real well. I just put myself in with them. You know, I just put myself with them. So that's one of the reasons we had. And they would come and tell things that happened at school, and I would tell them things that happened at work. I wouldn't tell them certain things at work. I would tell them some things at work, you know, because you just couldn't do that. But so that's how we do it. Just talk to your children like you need them to help you do something, and you already know. But if you tell them, they don't know you know, because you coming to them for help, and they go, wow, this is great. I like this, you know. So we did that, and right now we do that still right now. Yeah, the girls call me more than the boys, but that's all right, you know.
That's how it normally goes. Yeah.
So.
And what's the distance in age from your oldest child to your youngest child?
The one that said they thought he wouldn't make it. No, just kidding. My oldest child, well, she passed on, but my oldest child would be 65. And my youngest child is just got 50. It's a longer span. Between most of all the children, it's like a year to 2 years or something like that between each one of the children on that. So,
What are some of the greatest lessons you've learned working as a nurse in the emergency room? And did that contribute to your parenting in any ways?
You know what? I stayed in there so long, and I had to I taught myself on how to deal with the public. Because to me, every person that comes in that emergency room, that came in that emergency room, had an emergency. I don't care if it was from being stabbed in the gut or a splinter in the finger. And some of my coworkers would say, oh, it's just a little splinter. I said, wait, don't say that. It is an emergency. They couldn't handle it at home, so they came to the emergency. So don't just say it's just a splinter, you know, in the hand. Some of them wouldn't have anything to do with it because they said, oh, it's just a splinter, you know. No, you couldn't do that. You had to. So all of my patients, regardless of who or what, how they look, it didn't matter to me. You were the only person I had in my life right then. Was that patient that came in that ended up being my patient. The only person. And that's how I treated all of that. And I got an honor from the police, the firemen, paramedics. They said, if I get sick, you better take care of me. You know, but anyway, that's how you look at it. You look at that person. Because if some people came in, they were really dirty, they were homeless, and some of the nurses wouldn't even touch them. I said, that is not, you have to take care of him. If my supervisor came in here, I'm going to treat this man just like he's my supervisor too. They go, well, how do you do that? I say, that's how you do. You take care of the patient. You don't just think about what you think, you know? And that's how I do. That's how I am now. I take care of the problem if I can, regardless of who it is, race, creed, color, it doesn't matter, because that's what I wanted to do. Mother said I wanted to always be a nurse. She said everybody, when we were young, if they got a scratch, she said, you got Band-Aids over everybody. If they had a cut or scratch or whatever, oh, I have a Band-Aid. Give me a Band-Aid, I put it on. But yeah, that's it. My greatest thing was taking care of whoever walked in that door at that time is my patient, and I take care of, give him all of my attention. No, nothing else mattered at that point but that patient that come in there at that time. Mm-hmm. I like that.
Did you ever have a patient make a lasting impact on your career, or a favorite patient?
Well, I tried to do that, and they break your heart because you get so involved in that patient, and I couldn't help to not do it. I did all I still could do for them, but the feeling that you have for certain patient, you know, as a young girl, she was a runaway from up north somewhere. Very intelligent young girl. And I said, well, you know, I could take you home. I could get authorities and all that kind. She said, you know what she said? She says, you know what? I'll probably run away again. I said, okay. And I just left it like that. But I would have taken her home. But if you ever become a nurse or whatever, if somebody asks you which way you going, I don't know what to tell you, because they're going to say they're going that way too. I got trapped twice like that. Which way you going? Oh, I'm going that way. Oh, can you take me? I'm going that way too. Oh, jeez. No. Anyway, but, you know, just take care of, if you become nurses or doctors or whatever, just take care of that person, you know, that patient. It's your care on that. Treat them like they're the only thing right now that can, you know, you are here for them, you know. And some people didn't do that, and I saw that, and I didn't like it, so.
And how did you deal with the heartbreak that you said that you would feel sometimes? Like, how would you cope with feeling so much for your patients?
You know, it is really hard. It is real hard, because even when you leave, you think about what happened to that person. Can you get in touch with that person? And a lot of times in the ER, you see them one time and you don't see them anymore. And that's the heartbreak thing. And sometimes you just really want to take them home with you. You can't do that. You can't do that. You really shouldn't tell them your telephone number. Oh, don't do that, please. Don't tell them your telephone number or anything like that. You want to give all you can, but you can't do that.
And what does your daily life look like now, like today?
Today? Oh my goodness. Well, I have a lot of time, which I use it. I knit, I crochet. I go to church twice a week. I feed the squirrels because my seeds don't come up. The squirrels eat them when I make my garden. But I just kind of keep busy. You know, I'm not good with the computer and stuff, so I don't stay on the computer that much. But I knit and crochet a lot and make things for people or something like that. Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful.
Do you have any sort of community that you belong to, or that you talk to other people every once in a while?
I used to go to one community center, and I just started last week going back to another community center, and I don't know. I've been away from it so long, and I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna continue to do that. It seems to be okay right now, but it's been 2 or 3 years since I had been in a community, because I used to go to the gym every week, Pensacola Athletic Club, and I used to go, then I started going Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and then when the pandemic came, my doctor I said, oh, it's over, the pandemic. He said, the pandemic is not over and you can't go back to the gym right now. They're not clean enough. They're not good enough yet. I think he said good enough or clean enough or something like that. He said, don't do that. Not yet. Not yet. I said, well, okay. So I don't go to the gym. I missed that because I love that, going to the gym, you know, everything.
Were you an athlete growing up? Did you play sports?
I did. I played basketball, I played baseball a lot. I played baseball for Baptist for years. I played, you know, and I run marathons. I mean, I just like it. I love exercising, you know. My sister said, you're an old lady. I said, I don't care what you say. But anyway, she always saying something like that. But yeah, I did those things.
What position did you play in baseball?
Oh, I around third base. That's where the balls come. Or put me in, I know, right? Don't put me in right field because there's no action over in right field. It's not at. I put me over in third base, or I'll even take second. But I
right field.
I don't like right field. That's what I played in that. So.
And then what about basketball? When did you play?
Basketball, I wasn't real good at that, but I've had to play it because I was one of the ones to make up the team. So you had to do that. I'm probably more bench warmer because I was more into baseball than anything like that. So.
And then you said you ran marathons. How many marathons have you run?
Oh, about 5. Yeah. I liked that too, but whew. I used to try to drag my sister along. She's funny. You know, they give you water or sprinkle. No, don't make me no heavier than I am. I got to get back to where I have to be. You put that water on me, it's going to make... Oh, my God. But anyway, she stopped running with me.
And did you run marathons just in Pensacola, or did
just
you go...
in Pensacola?
Okay.
Through Baptist, Sacred Heart, what's the name of the center? One of the centers up on 20th Avenue. What's the name of that center? Oh, you don't know. Bayview Center. They have come out there, you know. So.
And then, what's the, kind of going back to your children, what's the greatest lesson that you think you've ever taught your children?
What's what?
What's the greatest lesson you think you've ever taught your children?
Oh, to be honest, to really be honest and true to yourself. Because I was the one, even my sisters and brothers, they still do that. They'll come to me to say, I know you're going to tell the truth, so la, 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 la. So I just tell my kids, if you tell the truth all the time, it'll come out the same way. Every time, if he's telling the truth. But if you're telling a lie, you're going to like, okay, what did I say the last time? Or did I say this or did I say that? So I taught them to be truthful and honest to yourself and your spouse, your insignificant others, or whatever on that time.
I think this interview is wrapping up unless Vanessa has any other questions. But before we end, is there any final thoughts that you would like to say? Or maybe just anything that we might have missed?
Well, I just was afraid to come up here because I didn't know what I was getting into. Being honest and true, it's like, okay, do I really want to go up that elevator? You know, and it's like, I don't know. But I just didn't know what to expect. And it turned out okay. I'm not so nervous. I probably done tore my handkerchief up. No, just kidding. But it's all right. And I appreciate you ladies for being humble for me and keeping me calm. I don't get upset very much anyway. But, and that's it. That's all I have to say. And I appreciate it and glad to meet both of you ladies.
I'm glad to meet you too, and thank you so much for sharing your life experiences. I've taken down the lessons that you've talked about, and I'm going to remember them as well.
Well, it is good because, I don't know, if you're just truthful to yourself, your family, and your friend, and you're not going to solve every problem. And when you see where you cannot solve that problem, don't worry about it. You don't need that up here. You don't need that extra in your brain. You just keep going and start on to do something else. There's, another situation. So I just don't let it worry me. I never did after a while. When I figured it out, everybody said, well, how do you make yourself calm? I said, I don't know. You just have to tell yourself, is it worth it? Nobody's going to get upset but you. That person that you thought you was mad with or is mad with, they don't even know. They don't even pay you any attention. And you still going to have headache, high blood pressure, heart problem, worrying about something that nobody else is going to, it ain't even thinking about it. They ain't even thinking. But my guilt is so bad. My conscience beats me so bad. I can't do nobody no wrong and not. I'll go back and tell you. They go, what are you talking about? I said, well, I'm just satisfying me. And that's how I live every day. Mm-hmm. If I had to really write a book, it'll be dull. It'll be funny, but it'll be dull. It'll be funny, so.
Well, I want to say thank you on behalf of the Samuel Proctor Oral History Program. And I believe that concludes our interview. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I enjoyed talking to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was nice.